Welcome to lecture 6 of module 1 of Python for Researchers. In the previous lecture we learned what is for loop, and in this lecture we are going to learn what is a while loop. So while is also a kind of loop which just repeats the code which you give, but in while loop we give a condition to the program. Like if that condition is true, then that code will run, otherwise this code will not run. So for me, what I think is while loop is stronger than for loop. The reason is for loop has a limitation like from this till this, but in while loop you give a condition. As long as that condition is true, it will keep running. And you may disagree that there may be for you the for loop may be good for you. Okay, so the condition is checked for each iteration. If the condition is true, then the block of code will run, otherwise it will fail. Let's do an example for that. For example, initially what we are going to do is I will just enter a number, like let's suppose count equal to 0. So initially the value of count is 0. Now I say while count is less than 5, means until the value of count is less than 5. Right now it is 0, so means whatever I write here, this will run infinitely. So print the value of count. But after printing it, I am giving another condition that now you have to add 1 to the count. So count plus equal 1. That means first you have to print the value of count, that will be 0 in this case, and then you will have to add 1 to the count, like count equal to count plus 1. So then the value of count will be 1, and then this program will run again. Now count is 1. The next code is while count is less than 5. So obviously 1 is less than 5. So this code will run again, and then 1 will be added, and so on. Now if I execute this, so you can see from 0 to 4 it has written, because as long as the value of count reaches 5 or more than 5, this block of code will keep running. So similarly, just like we in previous examples, means we can do this using the for loop as well. Like I can give you example of that. For I in range 0 to 5, because we don't need 5. Print I. So this is doing the same thing. The only difference is that this was using the conditions of the loop. Okay, now let's do another example, sum of natural numbers. Let's suppose I want using the while loop like we did in for loop. So initially the user will input a number, so n is equal to integer input, enter a natural number. So as long as the input is there, sum will be 0, because initially whatever the sum is, we don't know what will be the value. And let's suppose I say I is equal to 1. While I is less than or equal to n, that means whatever the value of I is, because initially the natural number will be either 1, 2, 3, 4. So while I is less than or equal to n, means as long as the sum is smaller than the number of values, sum is equal to sum plus 1. So I am deliberately using this statement instead of sum plus 1 equal to, like that, so that we can have flavor of both things. Now I will be I plus 1, means you just add 1 to I, and then print the sum is and sum. Right, first we will run this, and then we will evaluate what actually the program is doing. So the sum of first 7 natural numbers is 28. Let's run again. Let's suppose 10. The sum of first 10 natural numbers, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you add them, you get 55. So what the code is actually doing. Now let's evaluate the code. First of all, the user will input the number, and initially the sum will be 0 and I will be 1. And then sum will be sum plus I, means first value, because I is 1 here, and then now I will become 2. Now the sum will be previous sum plus the value of I, that is 2. So initially 1 and then 2, and then I will be 3 in the third time, then sum plus 3 will be added, and so on. So it will keep adding the number. Another example, let's suppose if I want to generate multiplication table using the while loop. So same thing, n is equal to integer input, enter forgot quotation, enter a number to generate multiplication table till 10. Alright, so n will be the number. So then what we will do, I is equal to 1 while I is less than equal to 10, because we need this condition to run 10 times. Print, keep printing. What should it keep printing? N means the number that the user has entered, and then multiply sign, and then the value of I, because initially the value of I will be 1, and then the equal sign, and then number whatever the user has entered multiplied by I. And then after printing that, you have to add 1 to the I. So I is equal to I plus 1. So now I has become 2, and then this code will run again, and now I will be 2, and then 1 will be added, I becomes 3, and then this code will run again, and so on. So let's run this code. 8. So we are getting multiplication table of 8. Right, so this is how the while loop work. But the good thing in while loop is that if you are running a while loop, and if you want to stop the code in the middle, there is a command, that is break and continue. So break and continue, there are two different commands to control the flow of a loop. So we will just discuss them one by one. So first of all, break. Break statement is used to terminate the loop, means it will just terminate the loop as soon as the condition is met. For example, if I say let's generate a list of numbers. So numbers is equal to, the numbers are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and let's suppose -10, and then 4, and then 5. So for I in numbers, because it means I in numbers means each individual, like 2, 3, 4, 5 in the list of numbers. If I is less than 0, means the break and continue can be used in for loop as well. That is just for both of them. So if I is less than 0, break. That means if as soon as the value of I is negative, you have to stop the loop. Let's see. So look, when the code is running for I in numbers, like first number, if I is less than 0, break. 2, is 2 less than 0? No, so it will print 2. Then 3, is 3 less than 0? No, it will print 3. Then 4, 5, so on. When it reaches to 9, so at 9, is 9 less than 0? No, it will print 9. When it reaches to -10, is -10 less than 0? Yes. So instead of continuing the loop, it will just stop. So this is how we stop a loop in the middle thing. So let's learn this thing using a mini project. So the project is that we will create a program in which we will ask the user to enter numbers, and we will keep adding them. As long as the user enters 0, that means we have to stop and give him the numbers. Okay, these were the numbers, and then this is their sum. So let's say I say sum equal to 0, because initially the sum will be 0, while true. As long as true is there, n is equal to input, enter a number. So user will enter a number, and then n is equal to float, because user can also enter a float number. So n is equal to float of n, or you can just directly write single command for that. If n is equal to 0. Now this equal to 0 means if n and 0 are both equal, then you have to break the loop. Otherwise, sum will be sum plus n. Okay, I can just write double n here, being on safe side, because the green are just the Python reserve command, so maybe Python can mix. So sum equal to sum plus n. And then in the end, print the sum is whatever the sum was. Now let's suppose the program is running. I write 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 6, 7. As soon as I enter 0, because look, this command is running, n is equal to input, enter a number, so it is asking for a number and it is converting into float. And then sum means adding that float into my sum. Initially it was 0, so whatever number entered, I entered 3, so 3 was added to the sum. Then 4 was added to the sum. Now I am pressing 0, it will stop, and then it will print that sum is 30. So you can add them manually, the sum will be 30 as well. Right, so another command to break or just control the flow of the loop is continue. So continue and break, they might look same to you, but there is a very big difference between them. The break statement will stop the loop, and continue statement will only skip that part and move further. It will not stop the loop. That is the basic difference between them. For example, if I take the same example here, I will just copy it, and then I will just paste the example here. Instead of break, I write continue. So now you can see after 9 it has printed 4. In the previous example, it is stopped at 9 and ignored all of the codes, numbers after that. But here, since it was -10, it is ignored and then write the value. So maybe your program requires writing only positive numbers, skipping negative numbers, so then you can use the continue statement in that scenario as well. So this was all about loops, and we will obviously learn a lot in the next lectures. So see you in next video. Bye bye.